Hey guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, it's the first one that I've posted in quite a while. I'm going to be kind of talking about these Sims that I've made for a Cottage Living Let's Play because I'm very original. So I usually don't really like Let's Plays where you kind of start off with one Sim and they don't know anyone, they don't have any like prior relationships or anything like that, and you just kind of follow them through. A lot of people play this game that way, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But I'm a realist to the point of fault, and I think it's so weird. It's like you're like 23 and you don't know anyone, you don't have parents. So we're starting off with a few Sims, and today I'll be going over their backstories and their, relationships with each other and things like that. Just kind of to start off before I actually post anything from my Let's Play. So our first Sim is Juniper Hempfield. I think she's so cute. I made all of these, that's why if you see their little icons in the bottom corner, they're all bald because I designed their faces and everything before Cottage Living came out, and then as soon as it came out, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna put the hair on you, I'm gonna put the clothes on you. But Juniper is kind of our country girl for this Let's Play. She grew up, is it Henford-on-Bagley or Henford-upon-Bagley? I don't know. I'm just gonna call it Henford. She grew up in Henford her whole life with her family. She has, 2 brothers and 1 sister. And then her parents, and I think that's a big family, but I've also met people who were like, oh, I wish my family was that small. But I feel like she has a lot of extended family too. Big, happy farm family. Her parents ran a pretty successful farming business. They were really well known and well liked in the town. They made I almost said a significant amount of money, but they're not like the land grabs, you know what I mean? But, eventually their kids grew up, the parents got older, and the farm was just too much to take care of by themselves, and Juniper, or June, was the only one who was really interested in taking over. One of her eldest sister is a professor at Bridechester, and she has a family of her own now. Juniper's the youngest, so all of her siblings are older, but one of her older brothers moved to San Myshouno to be in a punk band. I almost forgot I did that. But he lives in San Myshouno, and I think his relationship with everyone else in the family is kind of the worst. He's the rebel. And her other brother, he still lives in Henford, but he isn't really interested in the farming business. What's it called? From Eco Living. He's a civil designer, a green technician. So he's more focused on keeping everything nice and green, not letting pollution swallow the world. That's so dramatic. But not so much interested in growing pumpkins and stuff. So Juniper is the only one who was really thrilled, yes, I will take over the farm and keep the family business alive. She's an animal enthusiast, if you can see up there, in addition to loving the outdoors and being family oriented. So she definitely wanted to take over this family business and was thrilled when her parents essentially gave it to her. We're gonna retire and live in a cottage in the woods, so you deal with this now. That's essentially what happened. And Juniper got by for a little bit by herself, but eventually realized that taking care of a whole farm, especially as big as her parents, left her, is hard to do by yourself. And the next Sims that we're going to be talking about are her little farmhands that she hired, or well, one of them that she hired to help her because she quickly realized that she couldn't do everything by herself. So that's June. And next here we have Adelaide or Addie Allen. Adelaide was really hard and really fun to kind of pick out outfits for. And I think progression of my idea of her personality in my head kind of evolved as I was dressing her. It's a little bit funny because she's from San Myshouno. She grew up there her whole life, and her mother passed away of an illness. I'm gonna pull like an anime move and just say illness. Not anything specific. She just got sick. That's not funny. But after that, it was just her and her father, and they have like a great relationship with each other, because they're all they got. They're a really small family, and then once her mother died, it was even smaller. But yeah, she kind of grew up in the suburbs of San Myshouno with her dad, but she's very ambitious, and I think being very independent is part of that. So as soon as she turned 18, she moved to the city in like a really crappy apartment and just tried to make it on her own, Adelaide wants to be a chef. She wants that more than anything. It's all she's wanted since she was a kid. I think her father cooked a lot too, and she kind of learned a lot about cooking from him. And then growing up in San Myshouno, I imagine San Myshouno to be somewhere that's very, and I guess they presented this in the game, somewhere that's very culturally diverse. And there's just a whole bunch of different foods there. And she just wanted to cook them all, learn everything, start her own restaurant or like work in a restaurant, a real ratatouille dream, but it's hard. And so I think she went to culinary school for a while, and while she was doing that, got like a part-time job at some trendy restaurant in like, what's it called? Upper San Myshouno, like the fancy rich people part. It was kind of slaving away, and she sat with herself and realized, this vibe isn't what she wants. She still wants to like be a cook and, work in a restaurant or have her own, but the culture in a big city like San Myshouno specifically wasn't for her. And she kind of impulse. This is me injecting myself into, or just doing things on impulse. Impulse moved to Henford. I'm saying Hempford, not Henford. So just pretend I don't do that. She moved to Henford in hopes of starting her own little restaurant, and it's not like without the hustle and bustle of the big city, she's still stuck by her dream and was like, I want to be a chef. I'm just not gonna do it in the city. And so that's kind of how she made her way to Henford-on-Bagley. She wants to abandon all of the nonsense of the city, but still pursue her dreams in this village. And I imagined, when making her, I imagined her being a little bit of a fashionista, kind of another aspect of living in the city. And as I was like dressing her, I was really trying to find a kind of a sweet spot between modern fashionista and like country girl vibes. And I think eventually I abandoned that to kind of dress her down a little bit because I couldn't figure out in like a way that it worked for me. Oops, but I liked her outfits. I liked the way they came in. Anyway, I almost forgot to say, Adelaide, she works part-time with Juniper as like a farmhand. She's not just like walking around being random. She works part-time as a farmhand, and then I think she works at like a little cafe also, because she still wants to be in, you know, that kind of environment. She's only been working for Juniper for a few months, and they're still kind of getting to know each other. I think Adelaide is very driven by her goals, and so anything outside of that is kind of, well, I don't need to worry about that. So she works part-time as a farmhand just to, you know, have money, and then outside of that she's not really vibing with Juniper or anything. But I think if they got to know each other, they'd get along. Here's me speculating about these fictional people, isn't that? Well, that's the whole point of everyone who makes these videos. Oh my god. Anyway, now we're on to our third and final sim. This is Mason Osborne. Like June, he was born in Henford and grew up there his whole life with his parents, his mom and dad, and then I like how I said mom and dad and parents, like they're different things. His mom and dad, and then his sister. I didn't make his sister before when I was recording this, but I'm just like injecting that now. I'm changing up the story as we speak. And his sister. Growing up, Mason had a pretty simple life, and as soon as he turned like 18, he's like, I want to see the world, I want to travel, I don't want to just be stuck in this little town all the time. As you can see, he has the adventurous trait, and so I imagine him as not wanting to be like stuck in one place doing one thing. He wants to experience everything he can, and so he traveled around for a few years, just going to all these different places, seeing all these different things. And I think that was a really great experience for him in some ways, and it also led to like some not so great experiences in others that I won't get to here. And eventually he returned to Henford and was like, I think I'm gonna calm down for like a little bit. And so that's when he got his job as a farmhand. This was when Juniper's parents were still running their farm. They gave him a job, and he came to them and was like, hey, I don't really have any place to live. I'm not moving back in with my parents. So can you do anything about that? And Juniper's parents were kind enough to let him live like in their barn. And you know, it's still a barn, but over the years, Mason's kind of made it his own. At this point, he has money to move out, but I think he really enjoys being on the farm and the calm that comes with. I didn't give him the animal enthusiast trait like June, because I'm not usually a fan of when my Sims in the same household have the same traits. Don't hold me to that, because I'm hypocritical and I contain multitudes. But even if he doesn't like officially have that trait, I think that's in him somewhere. And he enjoys being on the farm. He enjoys working with the animals, and it gives him a calm that's very opposite to what he's been doing the past few years. And yeah, I think June has a little crush on him. I wanted to just like wait and see how the Sims develop naturally over the time, but no, I think June has a little crush on him. Little country boy, little country girl, I don't know, you tell me. But I'm just kidding around. So that's the basics of these Sims. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Yeah, this was a lot of fun, and I'll see you next time. Bye!